Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm going to do your June the 16th just for today in a meditation. I hope you're doing well this morning. The title of today's meditation is Accepting Life. Accepting life. Some things we must accept, others we can change. The wisdom to know the difference comes with growth in our spiritual program. And that comes from the basic text, page 95. It's relatively easy to accept the things we like. It's the things we don't like that are hard to accept. But remaking the world and everyone in it to suit our taste would solve nothing. After all, the ideal that the world was to blame for all our problems was the attitude that kept us using. And that attitude nearly killed us. In the course of working the steps, we begin to ask ourselves hard questions about the roles we ourselves have played in creating the unacceptable lives we've lived. In most cases, we found that what needed changing was our own attitude and our own actions, not the people, places, and things around us. In recovery, we pray for wisdom to know the difference between what can and can't be changed. Then, once we see the truth of our situation, we pray for the willingness to change ourselves. Just for today, higher power, grant me the wisdom to know the difference between what can be changed and what I must accept. Please help me gratefully accept the life I've been given. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. So we're talking about having the wisdom to know the difference and how that wisdom is something that develops with time. Wisdom is something that we have to attain through experience. I don't know many people that are just born with wisdom. A child develops wisdom as they begin to grow and have experiences and are able to use that information in an appropriate way, a positive way, a helpful way. Now, a child might know that if I touch the fire, it's hot and I will get burnt. Typically, that pain that comes from that will cause the child to develop wisdom when it comes to fire. Don't touch the fire because it will burn you, and your flesh cannot handle that level of heat. It will hurt for a long time. Now that's in its most simple form, right? A child is able to gain wisdom through experience. There are those, though, that will continue to test the boundaries of that. If I get this close, will it burn me? If I don't get that close, am I safe to play with the fire? Or is the fire just on the stove hot like that, not really with a match? Okay, so they're still learning. They're trying to figure out the boundaries of the information that they've gained. That's typical of childhood. not adulthood. Typically, as we approach adulthood, we begin to move out of that need to figure our way around the information that we've gained. It's our experience. And so we're able to use that information in a wise way. That's what I don't really hear a lot of, right? I don't hear the word wise. Well, that wasn't wise, or that sounds wise. No, I don't hear that word. It's almost like a word that is archaic. It's becoming so old. But wisdom, now I hear a lot of that. Today, we're talking about the wisdom to know the difference is something that comes with growth in our spiritual program. Accepting what I cannot change, right? It takes a lot of wisdom. Mostly, I hear this a lot with codependent individuals that are, still trying to be responsible for everything else, everyone else, trying to make sure that their behavior doesn't ignite, an issue for someone. And in reality, we can't change what people think. We can't change what people do. Just as sure as I woke up in my own bed, did my own stretches, put my own 2 feet in my beautiful memory foam slippers, right? Just as sure as I did all of that, prepared my own warm coffee this morning, everyone else does the same thing. They wake up within themselves and they have to, all by themselves, decide what they're going to do next. And I have absolutely nothing to do with that. If I did, I wouldn't have lost the people to death that I loved. If I can control all of that, they would have been able to wake up every day of my life because that's what would have suited me. I have no power over anyone. And so this concept of being able to accept the things that I cannot change, it shouldn't be all that complicated. But because we are, I don't know, I just feel like we have these huge hearts. We continue to want to try and change things to suit what we need it to be. But all I really need is acceptance that the only thing that I can change is myself. It's really quite simple. That's why this prayer is such a great tool to keep in your tool belt. So the wisdom that we need comes with spiritual growth. How much spiritual growth are we personally experiencing? Look at the last year of our lives and let's go through it. Let's start with, this is the month of June. Let's start with July of last year. What was I doing in July of last year that showed that I had accepted things that I couldn't change? So that means I took my hands, my controlling hands, off of the situation and surrendered to it. And as a direct result of that, I experienced some peace because I was no longer struggling with it. Let's look at the month of July. Was it a business venture? Was it a relationship? Was it employment? Was it something about a vehicle, a debt that you may have owed? What was it? Because the flip side of that coin is that I get the courage to change the things I can. So, what things did you find in the month of July last year that you could change and you actually did? Maybe you stopped using drugs. Maybe you stopped using people. Maybe you stopped stealing everything in the store. Maybe it could be so many things. But look at the month of July and start there. And now that you've looked at the month of July, here July is coming again. Did you pick it back up? Did you decide that you could change it when last year you knew full well that you couldn't, and you accepted that and you surrendered and you had peace? Have you picked that thing back up? Why am I pointing that out? I'm pointing that out because wisdom is just like faith, right? In a sense, it's just like faith. It comes in increments, it comes in levels, and it can come as itself, whole wisdom. Do you have wisdom? Absolutely, I have wisdom. If you have so much wisdom, why did you pursue or move into that situation and you knew that that wasn't going to work? You practiced this insanity, doing the same thing doing the same thing over and over, excuse me, and expecting different results. If you have so much wisdom, is it that I have wisdom in certain areas? Is it that I have wisdom and I choose to apply it? I have this selective wisdom. Or is it something I've been endowed with? See, it seems like to me it can have different meanings, different levels. And if that's the case, are we choosing to be wise about certain situations and not others? And so we're inviting harm to ourselves and others. Because if you look at July of last year, you look at the upcoming July and you find yourself back in something that you told yourself full well, I cannot change this. I need to have some acceptance and I need to let go, let God, and move on. But now your hands are back on it. That could be the drug too, right? But typically it's relationships, situations, right? Hurts. We haven't learned all that much. We're not all that wise. Or at least we're not applying wisdom in this situation. And then that's where I would say, let's utter this prayer again. God, grant me the wisdom to know the difference between what can be changed and what I must accept. Please help me gratefully accept the life I've been given. See, because in gratefully accepting that, I take care of it. I honor that life. I do whatever I can to make sure that I have longevity, which is quantity of living, right? Of years. But I also have quality. Quality. And that sometimes the decisions I make really reflect how grateful I am for the life I've been given. So we have some work to do, I'm sure, because if you're sensing that I am as well, you're not by yourself. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you this morning. I hope that you will have a beautiful day on purpose. I most absolutely intend to. I'm looking forward to the day. I'm feeling on top of the ground instead of under it today. So I'm very grateful for that. I'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.